Alright traders, we're going to go over Edgicator Easy Moving Averages, which automatically sets up some commonly used moving averages, which are basically calculations of the average of price fluctuations over time, drawn as lines just like these, directly on your chart. Now, many traders use moving averages to help educate their trades and gain perspective on whether a trend is bullish or bearish. Aside from automatically setting up your moving averages with some of the commonly used settings, Easy Moving Averages allows you to edit them as you please and includes some nice additional features that we'll get into in a moment. First off, I'm going to show you what the default settings are and how traders use moving averages to infer a trend. So the first moving average that we have is set up as a simple moving average. Actually, all of our moving averages in this case are set up as simple, but in the settings you can choose exponential if you prefer that and have some other calculations and values you'd like to input in there. So our first moving average is a 200 simple moving average. The next one, which is in light gray, is our 100 simple moving average. Then in a slightly darker gray we have our 50-day simple moving average, and finally the darkest gray is our 20-day simple moving average. Now when the 200 simple moving average is below the 100 moving average, we assume or we infer that the market is bullish. And as you can see right here, denoted by the green highlight in between these two moving averages, the stock was going up, it kind of tapered off a bit, but it's suggesting that we're still kind of in a bullish trend, and the assumption is that when it crosses over, we're now getting into a bearish trend. So as you can see, the 200 simple moving average crossed over on top of the 100. Things actually tanked on SPY, whatever day this was, and as you can see, it is highlighted in red. And as the gap widens, you know, it seems like we're kind of going down some more, and then as it starts to converge and get closer together, it's about to cross over once again, we see that it starts turning back into a bullish market. Now, you can actually in the settings change where the highlight happens, and you can also change all these values. And let's go ahead and just jump into the settings and I'll show you. So we go into settings, studies, edit studies, Edgicator Easy Moving Averages, click on the little widget, and we got our settings. So first off, you can change how the moving average is calculated, whether it's based on the closing price, the opening price, and you got several other options here if you need to play around with that, or you find something online that you'd like to set it up as that. The moving averages type, as I mentioned, you can select between using simple moving averages or exponential moving averages, and by default, as I showed you, the length of the first moving average is 200, the length of the second is 100, the third 50, and the fourth 20. Now that highlight, you can actually turn that off. So for example, right here, highlight, I'm going to change that to no. Go ahead and take a look at it, and as you can see, we have our lines, but we no longer have the highlight. The highlight is obviously nice because it just immediately lets you look at it and lets you know whether one particular moving average is above or below the other. So we jump back into our studies, and I'm going to set that back to yes, and just to show you a couple of, you know, it just looks pretty. I'm going to change it so that it's going to actually highlight between, and the first one I want it to highlight between is the moving average, the second moving average, and then the second highlight moving average is going to be the third one that we've inputted up here. So anyway, check this out. So as you can see, now we have our lines highlighting a little bit differently. So maybe you might find some value in that. Maybe you have some other calculations that works out better for you, but you have that flexibility to set it up that way. And it's also always interesting to go ahead and span the highlight between all the moving averages. And there you have it. Now, as far as colors, you can come down here. You have your first moving average, your second, your third, your fourth that you set up here. And you can go ahead and change the color, or you can change the width of the line. We have the line set up by default all at the same size, although it kind of doesn't appear that way just because of the colors of the lines. But anyway, you can go in here and click on the appropriate tab, and you can select whichever color you want that line to be. You can also turn off the plot so you don't show that particular line at all just by clicking the show plot icon right here. Now, as far as the colors for the bullish and bearish highlights. These are the standard thinkorswim colors, but if you wanted to change them, you could go into globals and you can change the bearish highlight or the bullish highlight to whatever color you wanted. You know what, just for fun, I'm going to go do a quick change on that. See, there you go. Anyway, guys, that covers the Edgicator Easy Moving Averages. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, go ahead, like, and subscribe. And if you do go ahead and purchase it, please play around with it. And if you find any values or some way to tweak it and play with it and whatever, something that's valuable and useful for other traders, go ahead and leave it in the comments. Take care, guys.